Have I just made the biggest mistake in company history? In this episode, we offer one of our best wrestlers an exclusive contract, but it comes back to bite us as a bidding war ensues. We have two options: either let him leave the company or massively overpay him in order to keep him around. But it's not all bad, as we also managed to secure our best ever match rating by quite some distance. And if you haven't already, make sure you drop a like on the video and get us to 400 likes to help unlock the next episode. Check out the Patreon, where you can gain access to multiple save points from the series and play along yourself, and head over to TEWDB.com and buy TEW 9 using the banner at the top of the site if you haven't already. And before we get into today's shows, then we do have a little bit of admin to do, and the first piece is related to ticket sales. Now, in the last episode we upped our tickets from very cheap to cheap, which now that we're at popularity 41 in the Mid-South will see us sell tickets for $12 each, as opposed to $10 that we would have sold, which brings us in around an extra $3,000. And I've done the maths and I've basically worked out how much ticket revenue we'd make at each level, so very cheap, normal and premium, and you can see that laid out here. So at very cheap we'd sell them for $10, as I say, and make $17,000 on the night if we were to sell out our venue, which is Emo's of course, which has a capacity of 1,700. With cheap we'd sell the tickets for $12, which would bring us in $20,400, and then if we go up to normal it's even more of a jump of $4, and that would see us raise $27,200 on the night, which is enough actually, assuming that we sell the venue out, to make both production upgrades that we've been looking at. And if we were to go the extra step and go to premium, we'd be selling the tickets for $19 each and making $32,300 for ticket revenue on the night. Now, of course, the higher the ticket revenue, the lower the attendance. But what we're going to do is test normal ticket pricing and see how many people we get into the building. Because even if we don't completely sell out, I think we're going to make more money than what we would have under cheap. So that's what we're going to do to kick off the episode. And that should, as I say, give us enough revenue to make the production upgrades that we were looking at last time, or at least one of them, that being for production values and broadcast quality, which would bring us closer to being on par with Reality of Wrestling, as we're behind only them in both of those aspects, and we're getting penalties for it, as you know, if you've watched previous episodes. But first, before we make that upgrade, we're going to see how it goes and check that we get the right amount of attendance on the night. And if we do come close to selling out, then we're going to keep that ticket price and go from there. So that'll be something to observe in today's episode. And another thing that we need to do, that we didn't do at the end of the last episode, is speak to Matt Riddle. Now, Matt has his contract expiring in 4 days' time, so we currently can't speak to him over a new deal, and we would have to wait for it to expire first, as it's within the final 7 days, which is fine, and we can negotiate fresh terms with him once he expires. But that is dependent on whether we can somewhat rehabilitate him from several issues that I have with him. So of course, he is unpredictable for his personality type, which, as you can guess, is not necessarily the best. And whilst he doesn't have a natural impact on the backstage environment, he is liable to get into positive and negative backstage interactions. And as I say, it's unpredictable and could affect the backstage atmosphere if those bad interactions happen. And some things that increase the risk of bad things happening are his drinker attributes, and we can also speak to him about his hard drug use, which reduces the potential lifespan of a worker and has a negative impact on his in-ring performance as well. So he's actually our highest rated heavyweight right now. So if we manage to get rid of this by speaking to him, then he's going to be performing even better, which would of course make him worth re-signing. And again, we're going to speak to him about that. We're going to speak to him about his heavy soft drug use as well, for similar reasons. And if we clear one or two of these attributes, I'll be more than willing to offer him a new contract and bring him back, considering the fact that, as I say, on the spreadsheet, he is our highest performing heavyweight with an average of 62 for all of his matches and 63.4 for his recent form over the last 5 matches. And this actually outdoes our heavyweight champion Alex Kane, who is second in the division, who is only averaging 62.2 for the last 5 matches. And we are now more likely to be able to persuade him because he's now happy in the company after being annoyed for quite a while, but we've been giving him lots of positive positive interactions that have tipped him into the green. So let's speak to him basically and try and see if we can get him to change his ways. So we're going to first say, I want you to try and stop drinking. And he says he will, and they no longer have the drinker attribute. Okay, that was easy enough. Now we're going to speak to him about soft drugs and see what he says. And he says he will try, but failed to break the habits. Okay, so that didn't go quite as well. So how about hard drugs then? And he says, I will. And they no longer have the hard drug user attributes. Okay, so 2 out of 3 there. And we can always come back and ask him about soft drugs again. Maybe we speak to him one more time. And it does say, sorry, I cannot. All workers are limited to being talked out of a specific lifestyle issue once every 2 years. Okay, so we can't speak to him again about it until April 2030. Once his contract expires in 4 days' time, we will offer him a new deal. Maybe a 2-year deal, at which point at the end we can speak to him about his soft drug use once again and go from there. But he will be 44 at that point, so maybe he won't be needed by then. And as well, another thing that we might do at the show is call him out in front of the locker room about his personality, which might fix his unpredictable personality type, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So we do have some other bits of admin that we need to do, and that includes getting rid, unfortunately, of MV Young. Now, of course, we've got this ideal roster that we've been building towards, and following the injury of Channing Thomas, Matt Riddle takes his place in the ideal roster, which saved him his job, basically. And I've taken out Michael Dante for now, who is our user character, of course, and replaced him with Eric Hammer. But obviously, we're not going to be getting rid of Michael Dante, but it's just for our own reference. And Eric Hammer will be turning face, as he's been teasing over recent times. And you can also see that MV Young is not on the list. His in-ring performances haven't been great. His promos, despite his performance skills, haven't blown us away. And yeah, we're going to just let him go in today's episode. But we will be offering him a new contract for 1 month with 1 appearance, and that's how we're going to let go of him like we normally do. We're going to offer him $70 instead of $80 and see what he says. So he does want a higher cut of merch, so we'll go with 5, and how about 10 then? And he's happy to accept. So his last match will happen probably on the next event, which will be Propaganda. I also want to speak to Nicole Matthews, who is now 41, so coming towards the end of her career, and we're going to try and persuade her to be a road agent for us, just to give us an extra hand on deck backstage. And she's got 78 psychology, which is perfect, and experience is 100. She's not as good as Emi Sakura, who has 85 psychology, but still she should do a good job nonetheless. And we will speak to her about that now. So I think you should make yourself active as a road agent, and she has agreed, so that's good, which will reduce the load on Emi Sakura. But what we will do is try and make sure Emi Sakura is always the road agent for our main events, which is our most important match rating. And 2 more bits of admin before the show then, and what I want to try and do is lock Janai Kai down to an exclusive contract, and we have issued out a few exclusive contracts in recent times. We've got one for Wardlow, Viano Free Jr. and Killer Kelly. And now that we've got some trade partners, we've actually got quite a lot, and have loaned out Janai Kai now. We haven't done that on the episode, but I did that behind the scenes just before I started recording. And she's now on loan for 10 appearances at Revolver and Black Label Pro. So she now has 3 employers and should be getting plenty of reps. And we are actually her only real employer, so we might as well try and tie her down to an exclusive contract. And she's been very important for the company so far and has been one of the main characters basically since the company revived in the Americas era. So yeah, let's go for it and see what she says. So we're going to offer an exclusive contract. If we change it from 3 years, her asking price will go up. So I think for now we're going to stick with that. We did offer 5 years to Viano and Killer Kelly, of course. But I think we should just try and keep the wage bill down a little bit for now and see what she says. So let's make that offer then. And financially becoming exclusive to you would not be a smart move. So we do need to increase the offer regardless, actually. So let's go with 5 years anyway and do 150 instead of 110. And she says, if you're paying me per show, I would definitely need to be covered for travel. So that's fine. We'll do that. And now she wants 1,000 for a 5-year contract. Okay, so how about a 3-year? Let's go back to 3 years. And now she wants 500. I'd be happier at 500 for 3 years. How about actually 4 years? What would happen if we go to that? And she'd want $800. Okay, we'll stick with 3 years then for now. So we'll go 500, 3 years, and she's happy to accept. So we'll get that signed. And I also want to try and do the same for Kevin Blackwood. Now, he is employed officially by Deadlock Pro and C4 in Canada, and he's the current DPW national champion, actually. So if we were to sign him on an exclusive contract, he would leave Deadlock, but we are partners with them and can always loan him back. But with Kevin Blackwood's recent performances, I wouldn't be surprised if he got picked up by WWE or AEW if we didn't secure him now. And I have been expecting that for a number of years at this point, and they still haven't come calling. Maybe it's because of his age, he's 37, so maybe he's coming towards the end of his prime. I'm not too sure, but nonetheless, we're going to try and keep him for the foreseeable future. He's currently on $250 per show and would want $800 per show now for a new contract, and that would likely go up if it was to be exclusive terms. So we're going to offer him a 3-year contract, which will mean he sticks around until he's 40 years old, and we're going to go from there. So if you want me to sign a 3-year written contract, then you'd expect $900 per show, which we can definitely meet. And he does also want a cut of merchandise, so we'll go with 5%, and he's happy to accept without travel as well. Okay, that's good. And what we should also do is try and persuade Janai Kai, once she's signed the contract, to move to the Mid-South, which would save us $50 per appearance for her, as she is currently based in the Tri-State. But we'll do that once she signs the deal, so we'll skip forward soon. And it's also worth noting as well that Channing Thomas's contract is set to expire on the 9th of April, so in 3 days' time, and we're letting him go after he recently fractured his skull. And that will also mean that we save $710 per show, because he had to appear on every show because he's classed as a major star, or at least was. But he's now only a star, actually. And that also meant that we had to pay Angelina Love, who's also a major star, as you can see here. And this will save us an extra $630, which will cover, basically, the increases for Kevin Blackwood and Janai Kai. Maybe it won't quite cover it, but it will make it more palatable. So what we're going to do is skip forward until we can sign these contracts and also confirm the exits of Angelina Love and Channing Thomas. They leave around the same time as Matt Riddle, who we will then offer a new contract to once he leaves. So let's skip forward then. So we've skipped forward just a few days and we have some emails about rival bids for Kevin Blackwood. We don't have anything about Janai Kai though, but C4 have made a contract offer for an exclusive handshake deal, and their offer is not being seriously considered apparently. However, the offer from Deadlock, which is also an exclusive handshake deal, is being considered. Now that's interesting because C4 have offered him more money. They've offered him $1,260, whilst Deadlock have only offered him $1,000, which does outbid our offer of $900. So we're going to go back in and increase our offer for Kevin Blackwood and sort of go day by day to make sure that we're not getting outbid, as I say. So let's first confirm the new contract for MV Young, and now let's go to Kevin Blackwood and see what he says. So your offer is currently not being seriously considered, so that means Deadlock are the favourites right now to secure his signature. And maybe we should have just left it. But let's go for $1,000 then and see what he says. And I'd accept these terms, but I have a better offer from other companies. Okay, so let's say no for now. And how about we actually just view the offer from Deadlock and see what they're offering that we're not. So they're offering a 20% merchandise cut, which might be giving them the edge, I guess. Whatever is needed as well. No bonuses, no signing bonus either. So how about we offer a signing bonus? Let's go for a $1,000 signing bonus, 20% merchandise cut, so we'll match Deadlock's offer and we'll match their pay per show, which is $1,000. Actually, why don't we go $1,050? We'll slightly outbid them there and see what they say. So I'd accept these terms, but I have a better offer from other companies still. So how about $1,200? Would that be enough? Actually, what's Deadlock's length of contract? They're offering an ongoing deal, and it's an exclusive handshake, which would mean he would leave the company if he were to sign that. So what about a 5-year deal, and see what he says now? I'd accept these terms, but I still have a better offer. Okay. What about 1,250? I think I'm starting to regret making this offer to Blackwood. Okay, how about 1,300? I'd accept these terms, but I have a better offer. How about we up the merchandise to 25, and we're going to offer a 5,000 signing bonus instead, and accept these terms, but I have a better offer. Wow. Okay, we probably shouldn't have initiated this contract bidding war, should we really? So let's go 1,500 and accept these terms, but we have a better offer. How? Man, we can't lose Blackwood. Let's cover his travel. Maybe that'll make a difference. He still has a better offer. Let's try 2,000 for the next 5 years. And he's still got a better offer. Okay, so I've went away and found an offer that I'd be happy to make. And this has cost us a lot more money than I was expecting, actually. But since we've been counter-offered, I don't think we've got an option but to try and just outbid DPW here. And it's been difficult to do, and I think that's because they're a more popular company. So he's more willing to sign exclusively with them because he'd get more exposure. Let's just break down this offer then, and it hurts to say that this is what we're going to be paying him, but we're going to be paying him $2,500 per show, which will make him easily our highest paid wrestler. But if we look at our individual ratings, he is well up there. For performances, he averages 71.4 right now in his last 5 matches, which is a massive increase on his 60.9 overall for every match he's done for us. He's up 10.5 right now on form. He's worked the most matches for us on the current active roster with 40 matches, and yeah, he's our 3rd best wrestler and one of the only free wrestlers. So that's what I'm going to tell myself and why this is justified. So as I say, $2,500 per show, which we should be able to make back with the recent ticket increases. He will have a guaranteed downside of $5,000, which means if he only works 1 show per month, he will still get $5,000 no matter what. But if he works 2 shows and earns more than his downside, the downside is voided, and he will just earn what he would have earned based on the amount of appearances that he's made. Because of his per show fee, we've upped the length to 5 years to make sure that he's secure for a longer period of time. He's going to get a bonus of 10% for every event. So if he works TV shows, he won't get a bonus, but if he's on an event, which we're only running right now, he will get a $250 bonus, and he's going to get 25% cut of merchandise, and we're going to cover his travel, and he's got a wage matching deal, which means that if anybody's paid a better per show amount, he will match it. And he'd currently seriously consider signing for us unless a better offer comes his way. So now we need to skip forward 1 day and see if Deadlock counter offer and go from there. And hopefully they don't, but we'll see. So we've gone forward a day, and DPW have increased their offer to 1,160. Now I assume that he is really considering that one because of their size, essentially, because they're a more popular company. And what I'm going to do actually is set his intention to utilize as a special attraction, and we're going to increase his signing bonus to 7,000, increase his merchandise cut to 30%, and make this offer and accept these terms and seriously considering signing for you unless a better offer comes my way. Okay. So that's good. We didn't have to increase his per show amount at least. So let's go forward another day and see if he can make a decision. And actually we do have some decisions to make. And Janai Kai, thankfully, has signed her contract. And by the way, Channing Thomas has also left the company. And we have confirmation that Kevin Blackwood has signed his contract. Okay. Now give me some time to think about it. You won't see this time because I'm just going to pause the recording. But I'm going to try and work out whether if we withdraw the offer, Deadlock's offer is still rejected, or work out if we withdraw the offer, their offer is accepted. So I'm going to try and do some reading online, and I'll come back to you. Right, okay, so I can't seem to find anything about it, so I'm not going to risk it, and we're just going to sign the contract because I don't want to lose him. So, look, it's a massive pay increase. It's actually a 10x on his current contract. He was asking for $800, but he's currently earning $250. Now, that deal still had 4 years left on it as well, but there was always the risk that somebody could come in for him. If we were to sign him on this deal, that would mean we'd have so many of our key players locked down to exclusive deals. Viano Free Jr., Killer Kelly, Janai Kai, even Wardlow, who I wouldn't consider as important, but we needed to free up his schedule for us. But I think the big four of the series are Viano, Killer Kelly, Janai Kai, and Kevin Blackwood. And I don't think many people could argue that. They're sort of the Mount Rushmore of Strong Style Americas at this point. So look, I don't want to do this. I wasn't expecting to have to go so high, but needs must, and we have to keep Kevin Blackwood around. That was probably our first major mistake of the series, but as I say, what could have happened is we didn't offer this contract and he got stolen. So let me know in the comments whether you think it was worth taking the risk and offering the contract, I think it's probably going to be easier in hindsight to say it wasn't worth making the offer now that we know how high we had to go. But in order to keep him, this is what we had to do. So let me know whether you think this is the right decision. But we're going to be completing the signing of Kevin Blackwood's new contract, which secures his future with the company for the next 5 years. Right, so that's all of the contracts signed. MV Young has signed his contract, as we said, and he's got one appearance left. And Matt Riddle has also left the company, actually, and you'll see that here in the emails. So we're going to speak to him about a new contract and bring him back. And by the way, he is the current MLW World Heavyweight Champion, which I believe is new. So yeah, let's speak to him then and try and get him on the best deal that we can. So we're going to offer just a written this time, not an exclusive written. We're going to try and offer $1,000 at first. We're going to make it a 5-year deal and we'll go from there. And he wants travel, which is fine, so we'll offer that. And he wants 1,130. So we will meet that as well. That is less than the 1,300 that it says there, which slightly gives us a little bit more money back for Kevin Blackwood's contract. And he also wants some merchandise, so we'll try 10 at first. How about 15 then, Matt? How about 20? How about 25? And he says yes, so we'll go with that offer. And he will be coming back. And at the first show, maybe we'll do an intervention or a call out. I can't remember which one it is, but we'll work it out once we get to the pre-show screen. Okay, so there we have it then. We can confirm the signing of Matt Riddle. And we will apply his previous gimmick of Bro, which is a swagger gimmick. Let's do that. And we can also confirm the exit of Angelina Love now. So in this episode, we've seen 3 exits already. We have Angelina Love leaving, Channing Thomas leaving, and MV Young leaving. Well, not quite yet. But anyway, here we are on the day of the show, and let's get straight into it as we bring you strong style propaganda. And of course, we're not going to be giving anybody the night off. For venue, we will be using emos, and it says here that we're expecting 1,488 fans in the building. So that's after the recent ticket price increase, so it has dropped our attendance by around 200. Now what I'm wondering is if we can change the ticket price during the show. And I'm not sure whether you can or not, but let's try and work out how much money we're going to make tonight on tickets. So when we had cheap tickets at £12 each, we would have made 20,400. Now if we set the attendance to 1,488, and we actually make more than what we would have made on cheap with a sellout, so I'm more than happy to go forward with this ticket price. So let's use emos, and obviously we're going to use all of our broadcasters. So let's go to the booking team meeting then, as we do have some creative finishes stored from last time, and we also have an angle idea as well, so we don't really need more of those, so we may as well grab a character idea while we're here. And this one's a safe bet for Alex Kane, so we will apply that after this. Why not grab a storyline idea as well? This one's actually a big gamble though, so we will discard that and we'll grab another one. Can we get a better one? And we do, likely to succeed. And I might put this on the Rise of the Emo Queen storyline. And why not grab a gimmick idea as well? Potentially for Michael Dante if it's not too late to apply it to him. And it's likely to succeed, so we can do that. And we have 30 creative energy left, so we can't get anything else. So let's just go forward. And apparently manager and client Wardlow and AJ Mendez have been bonding recently, which is good to see. Ryan Davidson has given us a creative finish for him, so we'll take a look at that in a bit. Trish Adora has also given us a creative finish as well, so we'll see how likely those two are. Well, in just a second. And for tonight, we're going to do actually a medal. In the last episode, we tried to medal between LJ Cleary and AJ Mendez to see if we can change their chemistry, because it was suggested in the comments that that would work. So let's see if LJ Cleary is actually at the show this time, and he is. And also AJ Mendez is as well, of course. So it does say that positive meddling is unlikely to do much due to their respective personalities. Okay, so we might just leave it then. But let's try and boost the relationship between Wardlow and AJ instead. And it does say it's not going to do much. Right. Okay, so let's maybe go with something else then. And how about we do an intervention for Matt Riddle? And of course, he's still a heavy soft drug user, so maybe we can bring that down to just soft drug user at least. So let's go with that and see what happens. And your intervention with Matt Riddle only served to make him feel under attack and resulted in him becoming defensive with you. Okay, so that's not good. Maybe that's because it hasn't been 2 years yet, but I just assumed that just meant this screen. But in any case, he is still happy despite that backstage interaction there. And we're probably going to praise him after this show just to double down on his positive morale there. And maybe next time we call him out for his personality and see if we can change it from unpredictable. But let's go to Alex Kane then and apply this creative idea. And actually, he's currently irritated for some reason. And that's because he missed 2 recent shows. But he is pleased with his victory at Strong Style last month. But let's give him that creative idea and see if we can get him into the green. And it is a safe bet. And it was a success, and he now has normal morale, which is good. And we also had a creative idea for Trish Adora and actually Ryan Davidson. So let's take a look at that. So Ryan Davidson, creative finish, a near certainty, and he has to win the match. And Trish Adora is very risky. So we might just delete this one. And yeah, I think we're going to do that. Right, and we also grabbed a gimmick idea. So let's try that on Michael Dante if we can. So of course we just changed him recently to an underground fighter. And it looks like if I was to apply it to him, it would give him a new gimmick yet again. So I'm just going to leave that for now and maybe come back to it another time with another wrestler once we decide on another gimmick change. Let's just see how long we have left on it, actually. And we do have it until June. So actually just a month. But we'll see how it goes. And as for storyline idea, let's apply this one to the Rise of the Emo Queen storyline and deploy creative idea. Likely to succeed, of course. Let's do that, and it will be applied next time the storyline advances. So she might wrestle tonight, she might not. We might save it for Strong Style 46, but you'll know in just a second because I'm going to book the show. So I did decide to give Brooke her debut match tonight, but we'll get to that in just a second, as we're going to open up with 2 dark matches. Firstly with Eagle Blanc taking on Stephen Wolf, and then Kevin Blackwood will go one-on-one with Joseph Finneck Jr. of The Veil. And then we go into the main show where we see the follow-up from last month, where Brooke Havoc was set for a match with Zayda Zhang of the Dojo Demons. Zayda attacked her backstage before the match could take place, cancelling her debut. Later in the night, Zayda Zhang interfered in the Dojo Demons versus Killer Kelly and Thunder Rosa Women's Tag Team Championship match with Brooke Havoc, then evening the odds to help the babyface team get the win. And Killer Kelly, Thunder Rosa and Brooke Havoc will team tonight to take on Janai Kai, Zaya Chow and Zayda Zhang of the Dojo Demons. We then go to 3 promos for the upcoming One More Shot match, which will happen next month before Matt Riddle takes on Marshall Von Erich in a heavyweight match before Trish Adora comes to the ring to call somebody out. And then we main event with Viano Free Jr. versus Tyler Bates in what could be one of our best ever matches after the 2 clashed at the end of Strong Style 45 last month. And this was after teases that the 2 were working together, and then the Veil came to attack Tyler Bates, and then Hate made the save. And that storyline will continue tonight in the main event, but let's get into the show then, as we open up with the dark match between Eagle Blanc and Stephen Wolf, and Eagle Blanc gets the win in 11 minutes 41 by pinfall with a 450 splash. And nothing too spectacular to note here, just a win for the babyface. But we do have Eagle Blanc's gimmick getting stale, which means we might be able to apply that gimmick change to him. Maybe we'll do that after the show. But nonetheless, a good start here with a 52 in the win for the Frenchman. And then we go into a technical masterclass between Kevin Blackwood and Joseph Finneck Jr. as again, another babyface gets the win with Kevin Blackwood defeating the Veil's Joseph Finneck Jr. in 14 minutes 58 by pinfall with a running knee strike. And a solid match once again with a 66. Kevin Blackwood got a 72. So as always, on top of his game, whilst Joseph Finneck Jr. got a 41. And the Is Tyler Hate storyline has advanced with this segment. And basically I've renamed the Veil Emerges storyline to this, with both of these men being involved in it. Maybe we need to change them to minor roles so they don't always add to the storyline, because they did lose heat here. So I might tweak that after the show. But we kick off the main show then with a win for Brooke Havoc, Killer Kelly and Thunder Rosa on Brooke's debut match, as she got a roll-up on Zayda Zhang clean to score the win to kick off her Strong Style career with a bang. And the debutant and the women's tag team champions have defeated the Dojo Demons. And Killer Kelly was head and shoulders above everybody else with a 73. Behind her was Thunder Rosa with a 55 and Janai Kai with a 54. Zaya Chow got a 47. Brooke Havoc got a 46 on her debut, so not too bad. And Zayda Zhang was the worst of the match with a 43, but still not that far behind some of the others. We've got a boost for the commentary once again, and we kick the show off off with a 63 overall match as we go backstage where we have 3 promos from Alex Kane, Wardlow and Ryan Davidson, who are preparing for next month's One More Shot Freeway Heavyweight Championship match, as the last 2 former heavyweight champions will take on current champion Alex Kane with the title on the line. And all 3 men hype up their chances of walking away with the gold. And Wardlow did recently have a title match, but got himself disqualified, and he's going to get another shot next month, as is Ryan Davidson. And then we go to the heavyweight match between Matt Riddle and Marshall Von Erich, after Matt Riddle managed to secure the win with a bro mission after blatantly cheating. Matt Riddle here with a 70 performance, so I think that's his best performance so far actually. And Marshall Von Erich not too far behind with a 59, and the Legacy Bro More storyline has started with this segment. And Legacy referring to the Von Erich legacy, and it's supposed to be Legacy No More, Bro More. You see what I did there? But we get a 72 match here, which is very good, leading us into a promo from Trish Adora, as Trish Adora comes to the ring to talk to the Strong Style crowd about her goals for the rest of 2028. And she vows that she'll be the one to defeat Miranda Elise. And then Elise interrupts, laughing as she makes her way to the ring. Miranda stands at ringside, refusing to get into the ring, and says that Trish doesn't even deserve to share a ring with her, never mind get a shot at the Women's Championship. This before Steve Austin comes out to announce that he appreciates Adora's spirit, and that if she can win her match next month against Hyan, she will earn a shot. So if you remember, Steve Austin gave a similar rub to Hyan before she picked up an injury. She did get a title shot, but Miranda Elise cheated to win. So Hyan will take on Trish Adora next month in a number 1 contendership, and we'll see who comes out on top. And the We Adora storyline has started with this segment. The performance from Steve Austin was good, and the angle idea that we used was a success, and Elise is getting better at her gimmick. But we go into the main event then, where Viano Free Jr., of course, has defeated Tyler Bate in 15 minutes 30 by pinfall while using the ropes for leverage. And there's no interference here from Hate or the Veil, and maybe Tyler Bate will take issue with that, we'll see. He had no help tonight, and with that, Viano was able to cheat to win, as always, and secure the win. And a solid match here with a 74. Viano got a 76, while Tyler Bate got a 64, so actually quite far behind tonight. But the Is Tyler Hate storyline has advanced and gained heat, which is good to see. And a creative finish that we used was also a success. And yeah, 74 overall, which would probably go down in our top 5 or 10 best matches of all time. But overall then, we got a 67, and we increased our popularity in 24 regions, despite having lower ticket pricing. And that's obviously down to us being on broadcast as well. We once again took a hit for production, but hopefully we've made enough money for this show to justify an upgrade for at least one of them. So we'll take a look in just a second, but we will address the locker room first. And even though we won, and I don't normally praise the winners too much, we're going to praise Matt Riddle for a great performance, just to double down, as I said earlier, on his good morale. We're also going to praise Marshall Von Erich, who Matt Riddle defeated, and we're going to say great performance to him as well. And why don't we praise AJ Mendez, who I think's irritated right now, so we can try and cheer her up as well. And Matt Riddle was very happy, which should give him a morale boost. Marshall seemed pleased, which I don't think gives a boost, and AJ Mendez seemed pleased as well. So for financials then, we have made a profit of $10,679 on the night. I think our attendance was around 1,500 in the end, and I think we've made record profit for one night of a show. And ticket sales were made 23,984, which was a big factor in that, of course, with the more expensive tickets. We've made $1,699 for broadcast revenue, and I think we made less merchandise, obviously, with the lower attendance, but that was more than made up for in the ticket sales. And I spent slightly more on workers than I'd like to, as we were looking to try and keep it around 10,000, but I have to try and get all the major stars in, unfortunately, without them kicking up a fuss. But yeah, a record profit, and we're up to 64,895 after just paying Kevin Blackwood $7,000 just through a signing bonus just a few days ago. But we've clawed some of that money back now, and we've made a profit even though Kevin Blackwood was on the show. So his increase in wage isn't too bad right now. But let's find out what we did for popularity recap then. We didn't increase in the Mid-South, but we did go up in New England from 4 to 5, and we went up in Canada, in Alberta and British Columbia from 5 to 6. And we actually have some big news regarding our shortlist. And we recently talked about how Julia Hart was somebody that we were looking at. However, she now has an offer from TNA, and it's actually an exclusive written contract. She'll be getting $15,700 per month, which is obviously something that we're not going to be able to compete with. So if we were to bring in Malachi Black at some point, his former House of Black member wouldn't be joining him. And as for that last match that we just ran with Viano and Tyler Bate, it actually doesn't get into the top 10, but it is joint 11th with Viano versus Aigle Blanc. So again, just shows that put Viano with anybody pretty much, and he's going to get a big rating. However, I think something that did affect the rating was Tyler Bate and him needing to be kept strong because he didn't want to lose, which is a shame, and that would have definitely hampered the rating. But there was a creative finish that was a success that potentially would have balanced it out. But if we were able to do it without keeping him strong and had a successful creative finish, it maybe would have been into the top 10. But look at that. The top 20 matches of all time now are pretty much all green apart from one, and hopefully we can get a green sweep in the coming weeks. And let's take a look at Aigle Blanc's gimmick then. And what we might do for now is actually, I was going to say tweak it, but you can see here that it's actually rated poor and it's not letting us tweak it. So we might have to change his gimmick just a little bit. So let's prepare a gimmick change and apply the creative idea that we saw earlier. And let's see what kind of gimmick he's good at. So it says here that he's good at Weasley/underdog, and he's currently on standard. So that would actually give him an improved rating. And what I'm going to do is just keep the name of his current gimmick, but we're just going to transition it into an underdog gimmick. So let's go with Frenchador, or we'll go with the Frenchador. It sounds a little bit better. And let's go with that then. And you'll see that MV Young is still here, and you probably noticed he wasn't on the show last time, and I just couldn't find any room for him. He might appear on the next show, or his contract will just expire at some point. I think we might have 2 shows left before his deal ends, because it ends on the 8th of May. So I've gone forward to the end of the month then, and as you can see, we've made significant profit despite the high signing on fee for Kevin Blackwood, and this in big part due to the ticket price increase. Now, what I think I'm going to do is keep things as they are for now for the next few months and get to Strong Style 50. And right before that show, I'm going to make the necessary production upgrades to make sure that we're up to date with reality of wrestling. Of course, that means we're going to improve our production value to professional and broadcast quality to in-house. And the reason I'm leaving it until then is because by the time we get to that show, in 4 months' time, we're going to have a significant bank balance and we'll definitely be able to afford it. And one of the reasons we're going to have a significant bank balance is because of the profit that we've made this month. And that would have been even more if we didn't need to add a $7,000 bonus onto Kevin Blackwood. So the profit would have been $12,000, plus take into account that only one of our shows had normal ticket prices last month. So our profit is going to be maybe close to 15, maybe even more. And if we can do that for the next 4 months, we'll have over $100,000 in the bank heading into Strong Style 50. And even by that point, we might even have the merchandise upgrade ready as well, which again will bring in significant money. Now, what we could do, and what I'm tempted to do, is turn this up to Rapid, which will cost us $600 per week for 4% of progress. And we are currently at 60% progress, and that would mean it's going to be done in 10 weeks, which would mean that it will be in time for Strong Style 50 once again. And yeah, it will cost us roughly $2,400 per month to turn it up to Rapid, but at the same time, if we're making $15,000 profit per month anyway due to the new ticket pricing, then I think it's going to be worth it. So we are actually going to go to Rapid and get this over and done with. So by the time Strong Style 50 comes around, we're going to have a ton of money, new production, and a new merchandise department that will be able to sell worker-specific merchandise, which means we'll be able to take advantage of the likes of AJ Mendez's attribute that makes her easily marketable. Okay, so we are at the show now, and as always, nobody gets the night off. We're going to be using emos, and of course, we're going to be using all 4 broadcasters. So let's go to the booking team meeting, and we have 199 creative energy to spend, so we may as well grab some stuff. So we're going to get a creative finish, maybe just keep it in the bank. This one is a bit of a gamble, but we may use it on a mid-card match or something like that. We'll get another creative finish as well while we're here, and that one's a safe bet. And let's also get a character idea, and this one's a big gamble for Wardlow, so we will discard that, and we've now got 59 points left, so we'll grab one more character idea, and this one's likely to succeed for anybody. So we'll keep that for a potential morale boost. As for locker room incidents then, Gary J, who actually we've used in the series, if you remember, he was the extra in the Brooke Havoc vignette, where he was in the mosh pit and got low blowed by Brooke, and he's turned up and wants to hang out backstage, and I'm quite happy to let him in. He does have a professional personality type, so there shouldn't be any issues there, but he can come in. And LJ Cleary came to you backstage with an angle idea, so we'll check that out after the incidents. Shaf and Miranda Elise have been getting on recently, both of them with professional personalities, and that's all for incidents. As for addressing the locker room then, we are at Strong Style 46. It should be a big night of action, so we're going to inspire tonight and get everybody up for it, and that should refresh in time for Strong Style 50, where we can use inspire once again. So let's do that and go forward. And we are expecting slightly more fans in the building tonight, so we should be making even more money than we did last time. But anyway, with that said, let's take a look at this angle idea that we got for LJ Cleary, and this one's extremely risky and has to involve LJ Cleary, of course, but we will be deleting that one because I don't want to take the risk. And let's see about using this character idea for somebody that's currently unhappy. So we do have a few minor morale issues lingering, which we're going to try and fix tonight with the character idea as well as the post-show speech. And we'll try and give some praise to those that are slightly unhappy. There's nothing too major. AJ Mendez is irritated, so is Alex Kane, Ryan Davidson, Steve Austin, and Zaya Chow, whilst Trish Adora is annoyed, and so is MV Young, but of course he will be leaving soon, so that's nothing to worry about. But as for character idea then, we've got Alex Kane who's irritated, which is annoying because he's the champion, but he does have white hot momentum, so does Ryan Davidson. Trish Adora has red hot, while Zaya Chow has hot, so maybe we go with Zaya, and of course it gives her momentum as well as morale. Or do we go with Trish Adora because she's going into that #1 contendership tonight? Let's actually go with Trish, and that's if it succeeds, of course, and it was a failure. Okay, typical. Okay, so she's now down to very hot momentum and is still annoyed. And she's still annoyed about being left off Strong Style 30 over 1 year ago now. Surely that would have worn off by now. Okay, so we are back then, and it's actually been a few days since I last recorded, and I haven't been well, and you might be able to tell from my voice, as I'm still not fully recovered, but I've got enough energy to finish this episode at least. But that isn't the only problem that I've been having. So one issue that I've been facing is basically I feel like I've been trying to do too much with storylines at once, and I think there's too much intertwining. Now, I'll give you an example of what I mean, and probably the best example of this, and that's Killer Kelly. Now, of course, Killer Kelly is in Hate, and they are involved in a storyline with Tyler Bate, who has recently rejoined the faction, but can he be trusted? And we've got that whole situation there with, has he been working with Viano Free Jr.? And by extension, this means that she's technically in a feud with Miranda Elise, who's in Viano's Veil faction, which overcomplicates the situation. You've also got Killer Kelly involved in the Brooke Havoc storyline, as she's feuding with Janai Kai, who is in a trio with the rest of the Dojo Demons, and so far, to even the numbers, she's been aligning herself with Killer Kelly and Thunder Rosa, who are the women's tag team champions. Then you've also got Thunder Rosa and Killer Kelly needing a feud with challengers for their titles. So there's just too much going on with Killer Kelly, so I've tried to simplify that with this show. And there's a couple of other examples of this, so we're going to try and smooth things out. And I don't want to say too much more because it might reveal the plans going forward. But I found I did book myself in a bit of a corner, but I finally worked out how I'm going to fix it. And that isn't the only issue, as I've just recorded the rest of this episode, and this show in particular, and there was no audio. For whatever reason, the microphone had slightly been unplugged when I've pulled the arm towards myself, and yeah, it didn't pick up my voice. So we're going over screenshots for the rest of this episode, and it will just be one more show, but it's a good one, so make sure you stick around. But this is going to be the card for tonight then, as Matt Riddle will be taking on Gran Dorado as a heavyweight meets a junior heavyweight. And then Matt Riddle's current rival, Marshall Von Erich, will be in singles action himself as he takes on MV Young, who will be wrapping up his Strong Style America's career, at least for now, tonight, with his last appearance of his contract. Hate will then open up the show with a segment where they're questioning Tyler Bate, who recently rejoined,
Hyan will then take on Trish Adora in the number 1 contendership match for the Women's Championship, held by Miranda Elise, of course. Janai Kai will then have a demand, which will take us into Janai Kai versus Brooke Havoc. And then we go into the heavyweight title match between Alex Kane, Wardlow and Ryan Davidson, with Kane defending his belt against the last 2 holders of the heavyweight championship. And then we close things off with a blockbuster main event between Kevin Blackwood and Viano Free Jr. And of course, the Junior Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. And that will be a hell of a match, and trust me, it's worth sticking around for. So let's get into the show and see how we got on. And we opened up with the dark match, of course, with Matt Riddle defeating Gran Dorado in 14 minutes 39 by submission with a bro mission. And Matt Riddle here with a great performance of 73. He's now right up there with our best performers. And Gran Dorado not so bad himself with a 58. But overall, for a dark match, we got a 71. And this was helped by their pretty good chemistry. And maybe we can run this one back in the future. But for now, they are in different divisions. But I think we've established that Riddle can easily switch between divisions. So yeah, we might see it again, as I say. And then we go into Marshall Von Erich defeating MV Young, as you likely predicted, by submission himself, much like Matt Riddle, but this time with an Iron Claw, as we look to establish that as his key move. And during the match, we also had Matt Riddle distract Marshall, but to no success, which did advance the Legacy Bro Moore storyline, but it did lose heat, unfortunately. But Marshall here with a 61, so he's pretty far behind Matt Riddle's performance tonight, but even so, it's still a good one. And MV Young got a 43 to finish off his current contract. But overall, 58, so not too bad at all. But then we go into the opening segment of the night, where we're going to start to iron out some of these storyline issues that I'm facing. And whilst the storylines themselves I think are good, there's just too much crossover. So we're going to try and clean that up a little bit here, as Hate open the show in the ring as the trio stand side by side to open a show for the first time ever. Now, if you remember in the original Amsterdam series, Michael Dante was revealed as the mystery man of Hate in the last ever Strong Style Amsterdam show. So yeah, this is the first time the trio have opened the show together as a group. And Killer Kelly makes it clear to Tyler Bate that she has accepted him back into the group. But over the coming weeks, his loyalty will be tested. And if she finds out Bate is working with Viano, she won't hesitate to end him. This as Michael Dante watches Bate closely from over her shoulder. Tyler says that he has watched Strong Style Americas from the sidelines and has wanted nothing more than to get the band back together, as they have unfinished business. And he insists that everything that has happened is a coincidence and that he will prove his allegiance by any means necessary. Kelly then says that she has other business to attend to with the Strong Style Women's Tag Team Championship and Thunder Rosa, but she will be keeping a close eye on Hate. And then she reveals that Kevin Blackwood is now an honorary member of Hate, as he is somebody that she trusts and somebody that embodies the dark side of what the group represents, doing what's best for yourself and your family, before pointing at Dante and herself, and to hell with everybody else. And Blackwood then comes to the ring to offer a fist bump to Bate, who accepts. And the Is Tyler Hate storyline has advanced with this segment, but lost heat unfortunately, and Michael Dante was very underwhelming, as it looks like he couldn't keep up with the other three. But even so, 62 is a solid segment for us, and is one of the better ones that we've had. And it just doesn't compare to our matches though, does it? But we continue on then, as Kevin Blackwood has now been inducted as the honorary member of Hate ahead of his championship match tonight against Viano Free Jr. And then we go into the number 1 contendership for the women's title then, as Trish Adora has defeated Hyan in 12 minutes 13 by pinfall with a lariat Tubman. And yeah, basically we're looking to turn the ship round for Trish Adora. She's been heading towards an iceberg, but now we've managed to get hold of the steering wheel. We've freed up some of the division by building the tag team division, which has opened a spot up for Trish to go to the top and meet Miranda Elise for the title. And of course, Hyan is going to be transitioning into that tag team division alongside Nicole Matthews, which is something we're continuing to build towards. I don't think we've turned her yet. I might be wrong, but it has been a few days since I recorded, as I said earlier. But in any case, Trish Adora has picked up the win and is now the number 1 contender for the Women's Championship. Trish was the rightful winner here with a 57, whilst Hyan got a 53. Hyan and Trish do have great chemistry, which showed in their performance and helped them get a 63. And yeah, solid match there, but Hyan's gimmick is getting stale, so we do need to tweak that. But nonetheless, let's move on to the next segment, as Janai Kai is shown dragging a cameraman backstage to find Steve Austin And it says to start the show, but we actually moved this segment to later on in the night, as when I wrote it, it was supposed to be kicking off the show, but it's not anymore. But yeah, she's dragging a cameraman and the rest of the dojo demons are following her. She then says that she needs this idiot, the cameraman, here as proof of Austin's word. Kai then goes face to face with Steve as she says that she never did get a shot at winning back her Strong Style Women's Championship. And when she defeats that flash in the pan Brooke Havoc tonight, she expects to be added to the Women's Championship match between Miranda Elise and Trish Adora. And Austin gives Kai credit and says it's actually not a bad idea. And yeah, that's what's going to be happening tonight. Kai versus Brooke. And if Kai can win, she will be added to that title match. And the rise of the Emo Queen storyline has advanced with this segment and gained heat. And the storyline idea that we deployed was a success, which definitely helped as well. And Steve Austin looked good, which is good to see. But only a 47 for this segment as we actually go back to the booking screen now. As you'll notice that I've added a post-show match between Miranda Elise and Thunder Rosa, as they were two major stars of the company that needed to be on the show as to not complain. So I've just put them in a Women's Championship match after the broadcast finishes. So that's why we're showing this screenshot here. But then we go back to the action then, as Janai Kai has defeated Brooke Havoc in 12 minutes 21 by submission. And I think with Brooke Havoc, there's absolutely no need for her to come in and run through the division, go straight for the title, beat Miranda Elise, go on a Goldberg streak for 2 years. It's just not necessary. I think she's a character that can more than happily lose, and that only gives her drive to get even better. But yeah, in her first singles match, she has picked up the loss to a former Strong Style Women's Champion, of course. But their feud will continue going into the future, and we'll see if she can bounce back and finally get that win back over Janai Kai. A 55 segment overall here, which is a solid match, but Janai Kai got a 54, whilst Brooke Havoc got a 49, and the rise of the Emo Queen storyline has advanced and gained heat with this segment. So we're continuing to build up that storyline based around Brooke Havoc, and these two will meet again. But let's go on to the heavyweight championship match then, as Alex Kane, as you might have predicted, has defeated both Wardlow and Ryan Davidson when he pinned Davidson after a mark of Kane. And with this one, we've protected Wardlow, as I want to run back Alex Kane and Wardlow at some point. But yeah, just a huge win here for the champion over two former champions, as Alex Kane makes defense number 3 of his Strong Style heavyweight title. And Alex Kane was the rightful winner, of course, with an in-ring rating of 62. Ryan Davidson, despite losing the belt recently, is well and truly up there still as a main eventer with a 58, and Wardlow got a 53. And the AJ's Client storyline has advanced and gained heat as well, which is a bonus. And Davidson would have actually done better had he not been off his game. But even so, we got a 63 overall, which is a solid match. But this takes us into the greatest match we've ever seen. Let's get into it. As Kevin Blackwood has defeated Viano Free Jr. in 18 minutes 08, so one of our longest ever matches, by pinfall with a running knee strike after a distraction from Tyler Bate. So step 1 for Tyler Bate of proving his loyalty to hate has been successful for him, and Kevin Blackwood makes defense number 4 of the Strong Style Junior Heavyweight title, and both men got a 78 in-ring performance, and the creative finish was a success, and the storyline gained heat. But that isn't what we're here for, as the segment rating got an 89, which is unbelievable for the level that we're at. And fortunately, both of these men are locked down to exclusive contracts for the foreseeable future. I think they're both 5 years and they're going nowhere. And with segment ratings like this, it's a damn good job that we offered Kevin Blackwood that contract at the start of the episode. Now, this episode will likely be titled something like, "Did we just make the biggest mistake of the series?" That being offering Kevin Blackwood a contract, initiating a bidding war, then massively overpaying him. But I think this match answers our question, and no, we absolutely did not make a mistake, and we've locked one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet right now in this save down for the next 5 years. And look at it this way, Kevin Blackwood had to leave his other companies because he signed an exclusive contract, but he's getting paid more money than he's ever had for one appearance. Not only that, but when he gets loaned back out to these other companies, he's going to be getting the same wage, and times that by 3 or 4, he's making bank, and that's what it's all about in this business. It's about making money. And if we made as much money as Kevin Blackwood did tonight, then I'll be happy. So let's find out how we got on financially. But first we do go to that dark match that I mentioned that we've just thrown in there, and Miranda Elise defeats Thunder Rosa after illegally using the ropes for leverage, and she retains her belt. But the key thing for this show is how much did the production cost us in terms of show rating, because if we didn't have any punishment for our production, it would have easily been our best show. But let's see how we got on then, as we did get a 73 overall, and we increased our popularity, more importantly, in 24 regions. Now, this doesn't quite make the top spot of our best ever show, but it's well up there, and we'll take a look at that in another screenshot later on. And it was in front of 1,604 people, that being still at the normal ticket pricing, which would have definitely helped our bank balance. So let's continue on then and see how we got on. But first, we had Viano Free Jr., Kevin Blackwood, and Janai Kai given praise, and they all seemed pleased, which I don't think will give them a morale boost, but even so, we made $12,518 profit on the night, with a big gate of $25,664. We made nearly $1,800 in broadcast revenue, and we made $4,000 in merchandise. We slightly overspent on workers, but I kind of think this is the level that we're at now. I don't think we're going to get down to that 10k spend without upsetting people. So yeah, I just think 13,000 is where we're at per night for now. And we can well afford it because we've just literally made $12,500 on the night, and we're now up to $73,918 in the bank. Now, importantly, did this profit come at a cost of our popularity growth, or have we gone up in the Mid-South? The answer is we've gone up in the Mid-South, and we went from 41 to 42. We went up from 8 to 9 in the Great Lakes and Mid-Atlantic, from 9 to 10 in the Northwest. Puerto Rico and Hawaii went from 4 to 5. The Maritimes and Quebec in Canada, as well as the British Isles, also went from 5 to 6, as we continue to grow across the world. And we do have confirmation that MV Young has gone from Strong Style, with that show being his last appearance of his current contract. And you can see there confirmation that Kevin Blackwood versus Viano Free Jr. at Strong Style 46 is well and truly our best match yet, and the first time we've seen that light blue on one of our match ratings, and it is 8 points higher than the previous best of Kevin Blackwood versus Tyler Bate versus Viano Free Jr. And as for show rating, here's confirmation that it was joint second overall, with it matching Strong Style 41 and Strong Style 40 Night 1, but 3 points behind Strong Style 40 Night 2. And of course, this is all down to those production values as we discussed earlier. Like I said earlier, we're going to wait it out until Strong Style 50, and right before that show, we're going to crank up the production values, crank up the broadcast quality, and hopefully try and smash that record, and hopefully get a show into the 80s, but that's all for the future. But for now, we're going to hold off on the upgrades, try and make as much money as we can up until that point before we pull the trigger at Strong Style 50. And if you're excited for that, make sure you stay tuned and drop a like down below as we try and aim for 400 likes once again to help unlock the next episode. Make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss the next episode. And until next time, peace.